right, so wide receivers. I'm just going to tell you my guy out of the gate. You have to know who it is above 7K.
Yeah, Cooper Cup.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. I'll
But
go St.
also,
Brown.
what's that?
I'm going St. Brown.
Okay. I love this tier. Like I like Garrett Wilson. I think you get a huge bounce back game from Garrett Wilson this week.
I also could make that case. Yeah. I mean, it's funny you say bounce back, and I totally get it. He had 11 targets still. Like,
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. As far as I don't mean volume bounce back. I'm talking bounce back in terms of like production. This is 1,000-yard receiver in each of his first 2 years, and his quarterbacks were Mike White, Trevor Simeon, Zach Wilson, pre-Browns Joe Flacco, and Tim Boyle, and 4 snaps of Aaron Rodgers. I know Rodgers wasn't great yesterday. Tough matchup on the road, first game back after that injury a year ago. I like this is going to be real tough for me. So you're going. I'm on Ross St. Brown. Cooper Cup had what did he have? 21 targets last week.
massive,
He had more
massive.
he had more completions than 4 quarterbacks, or more receptions than 4 quarterbacks had completions last week.
That's insane.
It's insane. Like if Puka Nacua is not in this lineup, and he won't be, I just don't see the. And there will be people that are like, oh well, Cooper Cup always struggles against Arizona. I that's there is nothing to suggest that this Arizona secondary with a lot of creative name guys can contain him, Ben. There's nothing there.
No, definitely not. This will be uh we're not going to dive too much into the line of construction, but there will be the Kyron Cup no quarterback build is like the tailor-made running back wide receiver that we saw last year do serious damage.
My best lineup, you'll remember this. It was in the $100 spy. My best lineup last year. I didn't bink anything. I think I came in like top 5 or something in that was Puka, Kyron, no Stafford.
Yep. That always works with the Rams because Stafford can't move.
Yep. That was it. And I love that thinking. I don't know how chalky it'll be, but my guess is it still won't be as chalky. People still don't love doing that. They still don't love going running back, receiver, no quarterback. This is this might end up being the best spot to do that all year.
It really could be.
Would you consider it with Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson? That's the question.
Also, it's the same thing. Rodgers doesn't move, and you've got 2 alphas. Yeah, I would.
I would too. And I think that'll be way less popular.
That definitely will be less popular for sure.
If Wilson had a 14 target game, it wouldn't shock me. The only difference there is game script. You know, I I always like Mike Evans as well. I think he's probably the odd man out because you can't count on the same volume that you can with Wilson and, predominantly Cup, but just an elite deep threat, a perennial 1,000-yard receiver, double-digit touchdown guy. Baker Mayfield's clear, undisputed red zone target. That is true. There's nobody he looks to more than Evans in the red zone, in the end zone. But I'm on Ross St. Brown, even at the elevated price point over those guys, is still your number one. So tell me why. Actually, can I guess?
Please.
You think he'll be underowned, vastly underowned, despite a great matchup because of last week's performance against the Rams.
He didn't drop under 8K. He was on an island game. So his lackluster performance was magnified by showdown mentality. Everybody played him because he was like 60% on as he should have been. He did absolutely nothing. He's on an offense that's just going to happen. There's a lot of mouths to feed. He's going to have games like that. And then he's going to have games where he has 10 for 130 and 3 against Tampa secondary at home, target rich environment. The ownership has to come with it. But if it does, in a good way, I'm saying, I like St. Brown a lot. Cup's the obvious play, and that furthers my interest in him.
I totally get where you're coming from here. But I do have one. Let me play devil's advocate for 1 second, okay?
Please.
Because I get the logic. Last year, they had no other receivers. All it was I'm on Ross St. Brown, a rookie Sam Laporta. And, I love Sam Laporta. But still, it's still like a rookie tight end. And then besides that, who did they have? Nobody reliable. Nobody. Jameson Williams looked really, really good. You know, a lot of separation, none of those drops that we worried about in previous seasons, which were, you know, plaguing him. And obviously the suspension. And he was targeted 9 times. Now, I don't think Jameson Williams is going to finish the season with the highest target share in Detroit. But if they have a legitimate, and this is a former top, where was he? He was a first rounder, right? Jameson Williams was a first rounder.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a lot of pedigree for sure.
I think it's possible that you may be looking at Amon-Ra St. Brown later in the year, and he's actually a little bit overpriced at 8,100 because Jameson Williams is on this team now, getting a lot of work. And also you have Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, both of them. I don't know. I think the only argument could be that he might be a little bit overpriced despite the spot.
I hope he's overpriced. That's fine because
Okay.
the ownership should come correlated with it.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with any of that. I don't think it's impossible that Jameson Williams plays a Gabe Davis like role for this team, where he has like 2 or 3 monster games, and then there's going to be games where Jameson Williams has, 3 targets and he does nothing.
Yeah, I don't look at him like that. I mean,
That's going to be the key. If he's consistently, that good, then there's going to be major problems because Gibbs is there as well. Like,
I also think this could just be another one of those 13 target for Amon-Ra St. Brown games. So I hear you. But I think that the Jameson Williams, basically arrival game could throw a wrench into the works. I also think it tamps down Amon-Ra St. Brown's ownership a lot.
That's all. That's the key. We'll revisit on Sunday. Absolutely.
For sure. Top tier, I'll go with the low hanging fruit. Give me Cooper Kupp.
Mid tier for me, I'll keep it pretty simple. I'll go Rashee Rice. If you're not playing Pacheco, he's just an obvious target.
Yeah, Rashee Rice is great. I like Chris Godwin in a shootout. 6K, I think, is a great flat 6K price in a potential shootout. 51.5 point total there. I wonder if Jaden Reed, if the juice is worth the squeeze on Jaden Reed. Well, hear me out. Do they just try to use him in every way possible in a game like this with Malik Willis at court? That's my only thinking. I might be trying to, as you would say, mega mind genius this one, but do you think that's a possibility?
It's definitely a possibility. I mean, it's funny. Chad's talking about, and I get why they're talking about Jameson Williams like this, but this is applicable to Jaden Reed. Yeah, if he turns into Debo, sure. Like they give him 6 carries and they give him a bunch. I just don't. I worry that the entire offense is absolutely crippled because of this.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't disagree that it's going to be crippled because Jordan Love against Philly looked nice. He looked good. He missed a couple throws, but for the most part,
He's good.
He looked good. I don't love the mid-range.
Me neither.
Pittman had a 40+% target share last week, but still not the best matchup. It's still basically a rookie quarterback.
Yeah. 40% target share. It sounds really good, and then you realize that it was on 19 attempts. And
correct. But still 8 targets when you consider that. I guess the way I look at this is if you scale it up and you say, well, okay, like what if he does throw 30 times? Does Pittman have 14 targets? Or 12 targets, 13 targets?
That's the key. Like, does his target share normalize to like 25%?
Exactly. Right. All right. So you're going Rice. That was my guy here. I'm going to go Godwin, I think. 6K there is really nice.
It's a great game. It's just a great game environment. Tampa's going to be throwing. I think they'll be playing catch up. I get it.
I love the low tier here. I love it. Sub 6K. You already know who my guy is going to be here, but I could pick 1,000 of them.
Who, Jamison Williams?
No, but I like Jamison Williams for sure. Malik Neighbors.
Okay.
I'm going right back to the well with Neighbors, and I don't have any concerns about it. I think you're gonna still see some big games from him. He played 100% of snaps in week 1 as a rookie making his debut in the NFL, right? Like people, you can shit on it all you want. It's not going to stop me at all. Like I just think there's too much upside there at sub 6K against the Watch. Like, Steven said maybe Washington could bounce, basically neutralize Danny Jones for sure. Or it's just kind of in the middle, but then you've still got a great game from Malik Neighbors. The guy played every single snap in this game. Need I say more?
Oh, I listen, totally get it. I won't copy you with Neighbors. I'll go Brian Thomas.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I could say Kirk. I respect the matchup. Just think this is exposed. Honestly, I could have gone Vlad right above him. I'm really bullish on him in general in for the Chargers, but I'm gonna go Brian Thomas. I just like the spot, 4,800. I think he's got some home run upside. He was another wide receiver that looked pretty good in his rookie debut, and him and Kirk are going to be interchangeable pieces. I'm still okay with Jacksonville. If I get to Lawrence stacks, he'll probably be in them.
I like it. Give me a couple of other guys to talk about here. I'll probably go back to some Terry McLaurin
Can't go worse.
against the Giants. No, it can't. George Pickens is another one. He's their only good receiving option, and he's good. Like, he's good. Had he not stepped out of bounds a tiny bit on that one, you're picking up another, like 25 yards on that one play. Metcalf is sub 6K in this game. Metcalf is sub 6K. Their offense looked terrible in the passing game last week, by the way.
Yeah, better matchup. He drew Surtain.
I know. Oh, for sure. And that's why I'm saying it at below 6K. This is going to be probably the cheapest you get Metcalf all season long.
Yep.
How about Jamison Williams is one, Terry McLaurin, Pickens, Malik Neighbors. Dortch is 4,600. He was used last week. I just don't love the upside there. It's like, yeah, you get targets, but is it, are they valuable enough?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not messing. Not Seattle, Arizona. There's still a lot of questions in that. Wilson caught a touchdown. Dortch is there. Harrison, obviously McBride. A little suspicious.
I feel the same about Wan'Dale Robinson. He had a lot of targets, but it's always like 2 yards deep.
Yeah, I'm not. And there are cheapies down here. I just don't know how much I'll have to do that. Like, yes, Lazard is 3,400. I won't be playing him. He didn't do anything. He just happened to catch.
I'm not playing Lazard this week.
Yeah.
What about Adonai Mitchell? A lot of deep targets, a lot of nothing great. Assuming Josh Downs is still out, would you play him at 4K?
Yeah, I'd rather play him. Gonna be a boom bust type player, but I don't know how. Again, I'll have to see how tight pricing is when I build, but I don't anticipate needing to punt.
If you need cheap options, I think Jalen McMillan's in play.
But why had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, why not? And he played a ton of snaps. He's the clear wide receiver 3. This game has a 51.5 point total. KJ Osborne was the leading receiver for the Patriots. I'm still not. Yeah, I don't want to do that.
No.
And one more for you. What about, and Bateman actually had 3 deep targets last game. Very interesting, but I don't think they need to throw as much. And he's basically the 4th option on this team. I have one more before we move on. What about Ladd McConkey? Did you see that touchdown? That was beautiful.
Yeah. No, I mentioned that honestly, when I was doing my tier, it was him or Brian Thomas for my choice. Ladd's just good. He's a good player. You know how I feel about him.
You're the one that told me, like, hey, I love this guy coming into the league.
He can stay healthy. He's a player. He's just got a knack for it. He just knows what he's doing.
McConkey's kind of interesting. I actually like him in this spot.
He's a good player.
And he, look, he played 67% of snaps. It's just Herbert's not going to throw a lot. That's the thing. They're not going to throw a lot, especially in this game. The volume's not
That's
going
just
to
the nature of it. Yeah.
be.